can see the Nasdaq 100 is here in the middle, and then we have Dow Jones and also Russell. And you can see that it's only Nasdaq 100 that is still lagging compared to others. So it looks like the technology sector is making a bit of a pause here. Also, there was a lot of uncertain skepticism how technology sector could perform going into 2026. As you know, market have seen a pretty strong move to the upside. Valuations are at extreme highs. There was also a lot of debt with this AI, and no one really knows for sure if AI will bring the necessary results from a lot of companies. So a lot of companies invested a lot of money into these AI projects, and still results maybe on some big companies are not going to be discovered anytime soon. But of course, in a few months, maybe even a few years, we will see if AI is really going to hold these gains, or maybe we will see some very needed healthy pullback. But as you know, not all of the indexes will make a high at the same day or low on the same day. But what is really important to just understand in which kind of phase we are currently going into the 2026. So like I have been saying in 2026 video update, that I think that stocks are still in uptrend. They will continue to do well, but on the downside, 10% of retracement or so, it's definitely something that it's needed from the market to make a breather and then make another push to the upside. And maybe this new pullback would come after we will see a completion of this 5-wave sequence. Now, looking at maybe firstly at the S&P 500, which I have it here, you can basically see that we could be here progressing higher in a fifth wave. Maybe even some wedge pattern or ending diagonal is also something we should be aware of. If you zoom this in a little bit, you can clearly see, and if I just connect the lines here real quick, you can see the potential wedge formation. And what this reminds me on, it's not
wedge formation,
it's also it reminds me on end of 2024, the beginning of 2025 price action, when I was also looking at this potential ending diagonal, and then we have seen a very strong reversal in price. I'm not saying that this will be the same story right now. We still could see a bit more upside here before real resistance will be broken, but I just want to realize that sooner or later this fifth wave could come to an end. But of course, there can still be another 100, 200 points move higher from here. Also, at the same time, look at VIX. Okay, so whenever you're looking at some kind of opportunities in the markets, especially if you're looking for some longer term trades, it's very important maybe to look at the VIX. And you can see that VIX is clearly here at the lower side here of this range. So it means that there's no fear involved, but usually when that's the case, well, that's when you have to be careful. So yes, market could obviously still go higher, but when you're trying to find some new opportunities, maybe you will have to be very selective between the different stocks. So we will see how all of this will play out. Some of the US single stocks are still, some of them are looking good. Some of them are already showing some evidences of a retracement. And firstly, we want to look at Apple. So Apple here is making some very interesting retracement. Now, what I like about this, at least daily price action here, is that we are pulling down. Currently, looks like that this could be, if you zoom this in, it could be an ongoing ABC drop right into the previous swing high. And there you have also this unfilled gap here around 252. So this could be quite important area, let's say, for the next, for the remaining of January. So you certainly want to see that these levels will hold, and then see, or you will see maybe a rebound. So as long as we are still trading, let's say, above 240, I think that there is a chance that this is a way forward and that you will see a potential support in that area. Also, keep an eye on these yellow boxes. I will mark them as a potential reversal zones, okay, of a completed correction. So that's the area where I'm expecting a new bounce based on my Elliott wave count. So if this box is completely broken with the price to the downside, you will see a sharp full price action through the levels, and then you see maybe a daily close somewhere below 240. Then I just think that maybe the wave count will have to be adjusted. So for now, we still could see a bit more upside, but keep in mind that on the higher degree time frame charts, maybe later this, maybe in the next few weeks, few months, we will start moving into this 300 area, very big important resistance.
I think the market's still got a ways to run.
Also looking at MD as well, So
especially with
MD
new
is, I said that
revelations
it's still
as of late.
possible to count this as an ongoing correction, and that we could see a resumption higher.
Get
But
into that now.
notice that we have seen only three-wave rise here in the last few weeks. So firstly, I thought that maybe if by the end of the week, well, still a chance, we'll see maybe a break of beyond 2330. Keep in mind we have jobs data tomorrow in the US. Then there's still a chance that we will continue
Jobs
higher
data
later
tomorrow.
on. But because we have only three waves to the upside here, I'm more in the neutral stage. And I think that also we have to consider some alternate wave counts as well. So I will present you this another interpretation right now here. What if MD already completed this 5-wave rise here? Okay, and then you are now in a new corrective sequence. And this corrective sequence would then be even in 7 swings if we consider that this first leg here was in 3 waves. So you can see the technology sector, this one is also showing that possibly we could stay sideways here for a bit longer. And maybe if we see a broken 194 support, watch for this second area of support here around 165, which is an unfilled gap, right? So that's a pretty big levels. Always when gaps are open can be filled. So if you want to be on the long side, if you are looking for some kind of levels, then on a retracement, these open gaps can be very, very interesting and useful. We have seen some nice move into that area here back in November, but not really fulfilled this gap. So I still assume that if we will see in the next day or 2 days, you will see this broken channel, then watch out for this resumption higher. Of course, I will also post this wave count on our website as well, among others. Also, looking at, I have here on my list eBay. Now, eBay is also quite interesting, and also it comes, it's all about gaps, right? So here, what I'm looking at is that we are clearly in uptrend, right? No doubt. We have higher highs, higher swing lows, and that's something you want to keep an eye on, especially after corrections, because that's when opportunities could show up. Now, as I said, usually gaps could represent very nice opportunities in uptrends when you see a pullback, when you see this gap filled. And we have seen some nice drop here into this wave A back at the end of October, but did not fully fill gap. Now we are trying to turn higher, and I would assume that this could be wave B. Now, wave B could even belong to this flat correction. If wave B will move towards the upper side of this range, and then we see move to the downside. And why? I think that's maybe also something that we have to consider, because whenever gaps are filled on the upside could act as a resistance. When they are filled on the downside could act as a support. So if we see this gap filled around 99 or 100, which is very important psychological level, then still the price action could slow down a bit up here, and you could maybe later on even see a pullback to the downside. That's one thing. The next thing is, or another interpretations, which would be my interesting observation for potential, maybe some kind of discovering opportunities on the long side, is if this gap, let's say around 100 area, will stay unfilled, right? And then you see a move to the downside to fully fill this gap around $77, right? This our yellow box support, then I think this could be very nice, interesting area for a rebound later on. Of course, invalidation level is around 68 below that. So for this wave count to remain valid, I want to see this level to hold around 77, let's say maybe 75, but definitely 68 is something that we should not see. Okay, so to stay in uptrend, we want to see a bounce from there. If this price box will be reached while we still have this unfilled gap above, I think that this could be very, very interesting development going forward. Now, looking also at Tesla, as you know, Tesla has recently seen a very nice push to the upside, but notice that we have seen just a slight kiss of new all-time highs before market pulled back. Now, what I like about this price action, this kind of activity, is that we are seeing this reversal coming to the downside at the beginning of the year. So always when that's the case, when you see a sharp move in just one direction at the start of the year, well, you can expect that market will not move straight into that direction with only one leg for the whole year like that. You will usually see some kind of a retracement rallies on both sides before market may eventually stabilize and resume higher. So after pullbacks, I would be looking again for some stabilization of Tesla. And if you look this closely here, like just lines. If you look at this price action now much closer, you can basically see that we are coming down from new all-time highs after these 5 waves up that I can count from April 22nd close. So we could argue that we are stepping in a new ABC correction, okay? Because that's only the first leg to the downside for wave A. We obviously should be aware of weaker prices, more downside, because whenever we are tracking corrections, we want to see a pullback made in 3 waves, and ideally this 3-wave pullback will take us back into the previous 4th wave support. What I really like is that we not only that we have swing support, we also have the previous swing high as well here around 370. So 370, 380, that's a pretty nice, interesting area. I would also keep an eye on this Elliott wave oscillator. It's pretty useful when you try to discover the potential
Tesla.
Correction. You can see that if we are in an uptrend, well, this histogram in red will represent a correction. And it looks like that we are just in the first part of this deeper correction. So we certainly want to see something more longer here to form before market may potentially stabilize. And if we are in a higher degree of black wave 4, and while these were the pullbacks in the blue wave degree, then certainly I want to see something similar because we are in a higher degree. That's why maybe this histogram in red could expand even more, be longer in time, and maybe even deeper in price, obviously. So that's also something I will keep an eye on because it would help us to identify the end of the correction or at least final stages of this correction that ideally will happen around that area. So after that bounce, I would be expecting more upside. So it looks like that now we are also on pause on this one as well. Now also the final market will be Visa. As you know, we have been updating and posting some free updates and articles as well on make some publications on X. And I said here back in October, November, I think that because move is out of a triangle, we should be careful and be aware of potential stabilization because triangles can never occur in a wave 2. So you cannot say that that is ongoing wave 3 because this cannot be labeled as a wave 2, but it can be a triangle in a wave B or a wave 4 or a wave X. And obviously, that's the second leg of this pullback.
Which translates
so
to a period of consolidation
you can see
or
that
negotiation
there was a very nice push
sellers.
to the upside. And what's the most important right now is that we can count 5 waves up,
when
right?
That happens,
right into the previous
when that negotiation,
resistance
when
areas.
that bidding,
so in my
that auction,
in my
whatever
opinion,
you want to
this
call
appears
it,
like a very nice potential resistance where upside could be limited at least in the near term. So if you're looking maybe to join the strength here,
pattern.
I would
usually comes
be watching
to a point
maybe that
where
area right here at the previous
tip
wave 4
one
and
direction
validation
or
level
the
is
other.
clearly defined here.
Clearly
so on
here,
pullbacks, there could
broke
be
out to the
opportunities to join the
downside.
trend. Again,
Got some support.
What would be the best potential opportunity to
Sometimes
join
you
the trend?
need
Well, if this gap will still remain unfilled
in order
here
to
from June 2nd, June 12th or so. So if this gap remains
metaphorical
unfilled,
foundation to,
right, and
for the price to go to another
pullback,
level,
I think
to
that
do
there
another
is a good
leg up,
chance that we could see
go up
some
and
stabilization
to
on the
have
drop,
another
maybe
handle.
opportunities on the long side then towards this gap. If this gap will be filled straight from here without any kind of a pullback, then you can expect a pullback
so you can
later
see a triangle turn into a teacup pattern
and much more nimble with potential entries here. So that's it for today for this US single stocks. I hope that you love this update. Please give me a like or leave me a comment below this video, and I will also make sure to provide you more.
I met this gentleman in New York
free analyses are also visible on our website. You just have to register
which
at
was a different name, I think, at the time.
And by the way, we also still have exclusive 2026 deal with 40% discount in case you are interested in the FX or crypto.
But I've always been super impressed with his analysis.
Hope you again will.
And he
have a good day.
is
and
obviously a
don't
master
forget tomorrow,
at his craft.
From Paris report.
And
it could be very, very volatile.
He's been reliable.
So
he's been objective. Bye. He has been on point. And I would recommend him for anyone in this field who's looking as a resource for different trade ideas. We call them signals. Anyhow, thank you again. This is Christopher Whitney Financial, signing out. Wishing everyone an awesome day. Love, peace, and chicken grease. God bless and Peace out.